We are no longer physicians. We're providers.
Ask your baby's permission.
Gay people, you have become a product. Should auto insurance cover STD? Are you freaking kidding me? So you demean us. You don't get a parade for a sexual preference. To not hurt the feelings of somebody with a fraction of my training. That a beaver's ass presented this to the world. It's a natural flavor. But you are literally an ice cube in a martini shaker. Yes, I love that line. An ice cube in a martini shaker. But tonight, you are a tempest in a teacup.
Look at that. Cheers.
We were at what do they call that? Not preseason, spring training today. Baseball.
As you can tell, the way I'm dressed, I keep getting better looking by the week.
So we decided to.
I'm like, good. You're a baseball. I'll wear my baseball attire here and my baseball tattoo right there. See?
From the bag of Cracker Jack, which was very appropriate. So we have three, well, kind of 4 stories.
Tim's got 4 stories for you tonight.
Two of them are why we left Oregon. It will explain everything. You just listen to these stories and you'll go, okay, that makes perfect sense. And of course, all of our Canadian friends and family, not all of them, but lots of them are freaking out because of the Trump tariff wars. And we'll discuss that a little bit because I honestly have no real answer, but I think the way the Canadians are responding to Trump is it's silly. You shouldn't.
Oh, there.
We'll get into that.
We talked about it before.
You don't.
We talked about this before, but you can go there again. I'll let you for a little bit. All right. Start from the top.
Let's start from the top. Okay. So people say, you left Oregon. Isn't it nice? Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, it is for 3 months of the year. And then there's 9 months of clouds. And there's 12 months of this, which is they, them, turtle. Oregon Mental Health Advisory Board includes a member who identifies as a terrapin species. J.D. Holt helps make policy recommendations for mental health services in Oregon and
identifies as a turtle. How did that person get elected? Was that an elected position?
Appointed.
Self-appointed.
Appointed. Well, they get appointed because it looks like a woman to me, but I can't tell. And
this is the people we have in leadership.
Yes,
and we wonder.
But he, she, they, turtle. I'll use their preferred pronouns. Turtle is a consumer of healthcare products.
No shit. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
A whole lot of
mental
health products.
Take the people consuming the mental health products or services or whatever you call it, services, I guess, and have them on this advisory council. Okay. J.D. Holt, I got to read some of the article because it's so great. J.D. Holt, who also goes by J.D. Terrapin on Facebook, made the declaration with a straight face while introducing themselves at a virtual council meeting on December 20th. Hello, everybody. It's JD. I use they, them, and turtle for my pronouns. Now, I have parts of my body, if it's cold enough, that become turtle-like, but I've never identified as a turtle. I try to not bring attention to that problem. I'm in the Springfield, Eugene area, and I get to be part of the council, Holt said enthusiastically. We have worked in Springfield and Eugene, and yes, and of course, this person has, as you would guess, flaming green hair, which is essentially a beacon of, I'm crazy, do not talk to me. If you see somebody with the flaming hair, stay away.
I would just, I don't know, I'd be that one person that would say, sorry, this is a council of adults and humans and mammals. And this is...
Holt is one of roughly 24 consumers on the OHA's Consumer Advisory Council, which is appointed by OHA Director Dr. Seja Hathi who was chosen by Democratic Governor Tina Kotek.
What a surprise.
Gender Wiki, a website that documents non-binary genders, describes turtle gender, also dubbed tortoise gender, as a legitimate xenogender identity in which a person feels a gendered connection to turtles. How about you just say you're a turtleophile? I like turtles. Not I am a turtle, because you don't know what it would be like to be a turtle. You are just mentally ill.
Yeah,
these people used to be admitted to the hospital, given a shot of Haldol, and put in a lockup unit because they were obviously delusional. Now we give them all this attention.
Well,
it drives me crazy.
Sad.
I'm going to be the one in the lockup.
The people you need to be screaming at, obviously not mentally ill people like this turtle.
No, it's the idiots that think that this is,
that put up with it, that condone it, that go along with it,
that encourage it, is what they do, because it becomes attention speaking. It's attention seeking behavior.
I don't know. It's
by people that are unhinged, and it's just like that guy in Ontario that had the absolutely gigantic, like massive, he had these fake boobs that would stick out like 2 feet, and he was a shop teacher.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
I think the whole thing, and the Ontario government went along with it, and they're like, well, he identifies as a woman. He identifies as a woman with like triple Z fake breasts.
I think it was all a farce.
And then he just did it to troll them.
Yeah,
He was just a gigantic troll to see how far they would go. And they would go as far as anyone would say, because they would never, ever say, you know what? No, I'm sorry, this is too far. If you're suffering from mental illness, we'll get you counseling. We'll help you out. We'll do whatever. That's way too weird. You cannot do that in front of our children.
Why do people put up with this? So
why do parents put up with it?
It would be like letting the burglars in to like babysit your house when you're on vacation. Would you do that?
Oh, yes. And people in Oregon, your tax money is paying for this. You are part of this if you live in that state. I'm sorry. It's part of why we left. The other reason why we left is this story here. Okay. Tina Kotek, or as I like to refer to her, Tuna Kotex, comes up with this genius idea. Governor Kotek declares March 10th as Abortion Provider Appreciation Day. Yes, as the state of Oregon takes taxpayer money and sacrifices unborn children to Moloch, let's celebrate this sacrifice of children. Remember when abortion was supposed to be safe, legal, and rare? And the whole argument was women are going to get in trouble. Do you want your teenage daughter to have an abortion with a coat hanger in the backyard? No, I don't. Okay, well, so I got to vote for abortion so that doesn't happen. And then this satanic sacrifice shit happens instead.
I read a lot of the article, and they were talking about this celebration as part of women's reproductive health care, and that's why it was important. And they cited the number of abortions done in 2023. Number was over 10,000
in Oregon, in a state of 3 million,
with people flocking from other states to come there. And so I can't remember what the percentage of out-of-state people, but it was over 10,000 emergency saving the lives of women. Wasn't that what it's supposed to be for? Abortions.
How did safe sense? No, but tell me this. This is in 35 years.
It's all about the safety of the mother's health. Well, how often?
That's the biggest canard in the world.
We're gonna have to look it up.
That whole
percentage-wise,
that whole mother's health thing is completely insane. It's completely insane because in Canada they never did an abortion on demand. They only did therapeutic abortions. So you would pull up the OR schedule for that day, and they would be scheduling surgeries, okay? And they had to have a diagnosis on there, okay, right? So if you're scheduling, an appendectomy or, it gets shoved in as an emergency, you would say appendicitis, this operating room, blah, blah, blah. The diagnosis was depression. You're depressed because you're pregnant, so we'll unpregnant you and fix your depression. That was the thinking, because we don't do abortion on demand. We only do therapeutic abortions. And they called it a therapeutic. Well, it wasn't a therapeutic. It was, I wanted to go to Hawaii and I'm inconvenienced by this pregnancy, or I hate my boyfriend, or I get it. I'm still not technically, I still am a medical director of a crisis pregnancy center in Oregon. So I have a connection to this both emotionally and professionally. And I get it. Crisis pregnancies are awful. They are a crisis. They are terrible. And the facility that I have worked with has done an unbelievable job with parenting classes, with giving away, tons of diapers and car seats and car seat classes and all of this, because they care for these young families in crisis, counseling the couples that elect to stay together and raise their child. It's moving. It will move you to tears, because this idea that we only care about the baby. No, we don't. We care about families and we care about young women. And I would come into these meetings and I'd say, our job is not to save babies. Our job is to touch the hearts of young women with the love of God. And that is absolutely the mission of any real, true crisis pregnancy center. And they're celebrating this like every single abortion is, if they don't have an abortion, the mother's life is over. No, we terminated lots and lots and lots and lots of pregnancies for the health of the mother. You know what it was called? A C-section. Even at 25 weeks. It's like, we do a C-section. We know that there's not a lot of chance of the baby surviving, but we take that baby, we put them in the NICU. We care for the mother. We care for this child. We try to resuscitate this baby as best as we can. I've seen it countless times in my career. It's called a C-section. So, and then these assholes come out and they say, oh, well, if you have an ectopic pregnancy in Oklahoma or Texas, you can't have, that's a termination of a pregnancy. No, it's okay. If you have an ectopic pregnancy, it's an unviable pregnancy. It's only going to kill the mother and the child. So yes, they take those out in all of those states. No, this has gone from safe, legal, and rare. We need this to protect women's health. That's where the argument started. And in 35 years, it is now the unholy sacrament of the left. That's what it is. I'm sorry. That's what I believe it is. It is the satanic Eucharist of the progressive movement. And that's why they scream like demons being thrown into gathering swine as soon as you put any restrictions on abortion.
Very well said. I don't really much to add to your.
Well, I've been in this. I've been neck deep in this for my entire career. I have held the hand of women in crisis that have been sexually abused. I have ultrasounded them and seen their entire crisis change when they see this life inside of them and how powerful that is. So yeah, this pisses me off. Celebrating this, I get it. I get there's arguments, good arguments, for why you should keep abortion legal. Celebrating it is not one of them.
Yeah.
That's like, let's celebrate my leg amputation. Leg amputation, people, let's have a party. Like, it's nauseating, because they're just saying the quiet part out loud now is what they're doing.
Yep. Take a breath. Let the blood drain from your head.
The blood will never drain from my head. It's gigantic.
It's matching your shirt.
Yes.
No, I share the same sentiments.
No,
I'm just speechless.
Well, it is.
It's annoying.
And the technology, we have 3D ultrasound. We had 3D ultrasounds, 25 years ago when before our son was born. You can literally see the kid like perfectly, their profile and their little hand flipping you off.
It's got to be a better way to reach people and reach their hearts.
Well, and that's exactly it. That's
what we tried to do one-on-one in our medical careers. I mean, that's the way you do it. one-on-one with people, everybody, not even in a medical office, but just personally. And yeah, I get it. I get that people, an unplanned, technically unwanted baby can be scary and throw a monkey wrench into your life plans. And when you're unprepared and probably even not of a proper, I wouldn't say proper. I mean, if you can get pregnant, you're proper age to be a parent, but you know what I mean? If you're not mature, I mean, if it just, I get it. It's just like, I can't do this. That's what people think. It's just, that's their option, is to make the problem go away. Right. But how do you reach people and say, this is another life, not just a bag of tissue that goes away?
Well, I would love
Because
to.
once the baby's born, and if you're depressed, you don't get to just off your kids into the street because I have depression and I need to have my therapeutic child removal, right? So,
No, it stuns me, because then they come up with these other unbelievably lame arguments. Well, that kid doesn't have a chance because the parents are poor. Oh, so that's the kill poor people
that's right. Yeah.
proposal?
Yeah.
That's what we do now?
So, Tina, I don't know. You guys got to do something different there.
You got to fix that. I mean, I don't know. The whole West Coast is
totally out of control.
The Cascadia subduction plain, which is the largest fault line in North America, and it goes from
There must be
California
a reason there.
all the way to Alaska.
Why God put it there?
So he can wash the West Coast into the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. Yes, because if the Cascadia subduction plain goes down, it takes out basically all of Western Washington, probably tons of Alaska, and like all of the lower mainland of British Columbia would be gone. And Oregon would have a gigantic tsunami.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I'm not sure if the tsunami would go far enough to hit Portland and cleanse them. I'm not saying I want Portland flooded, but I'm not saying that either. Sorry. I have no control over the Cascadia subduction plain.
Is that right? Is that right? You don't have like the codes right here in this box?
No, I am not the Lord above. I do not. But it is interesting. It is interesting that the biggest fault line is on the West Coast of the United States. Yeah, because I just
finished reading the book of Jonah. Maybe you need to read that for this topic.
Yes, Cascadian subduction plain. Anyways, that's. Let's see here. What should we do? This we have to do. This is so good. I'll start it. I'll see if I can stop it in between. Somebody posted this on the Instagrams, and it's just so delicious. I couldn't help myself.
Canadians are hurt. Canadians are angry. We're going to choose to not go on vacation in Florida or Old Orchard Beach or wherever. We're going to choose to try to buy Canadian products and forego bourbon and other classic American products. And yeah, we're probably going to keep booing the American anthem. But let me tell Americans, we're not booing you. We're not booing your teams. We're not booing your players. We're booing a policy that is designed to hurt us. And we're insulted. And we're angry.
I'm going to tell my dad, Fidel.
Which means we're going to stand up for each other. We're going to fight. And we're going to win.
We continue to set tourism records. 2024 saw more than 142 million visitors come to the state of Florida. This includes 3.3 million visitors from Canada. That's not much of a boycott in my book. Maybe they wanted to get a glimpse of what a Stanley Cup winning hockey team actually looks like.
Oh, the difference between DeSantis and Trudeau. It's like this. I'm going to explain to you how Canada should respond to this, because I honestly don't really have a frickin' clue what Trump is doing. I don't. So part of me goes, why are you poking these assholes and provoking Canada for no reason? Like, there's a part of me that's just like, really? Like, I get the fentanyl thing. I mean, I get it with Mexico. I think it's a, you know, I don't know exactly what his thinking is. I don't know if there's some 4D chess or if he's just being a jerk. I don't know. But Justin Trudeau in that speech, we're not going to drink Kentucky bourbon and we're not going to go to Florida. And that's going to make a massive difference.
We're going to fight and we're going to win.
We're going to fight and we're going to win. Like that speech should be called, "Tell me you have a limp dick without telling me you have a limp dick." You have no cards to fight with. You have nothing. You have no military. You have 73% of the Canadian economy is export based, and 88% of their exports come to the United States, which means you can't do anything to us. Anything you do to the United States, you do 10 times to yourself. That speech by Trudeau is the political equivalent of a 3-year-old saying they're going to hold their breath until they die. Meanwhile, mother pours a second cup of coffee and sits there with folded arms looking at said 3-year-old going, "Be my freaking guest."
I know.
Because you're not the first kid that's tried, and you will not be the first ever to succeed.
So I asked my friends and family up there if they've turned off the televisions from the U.S. Not the but you know what I mean? All the networks, all the channels that come from the U.S.
Yeah,
to boycott it.
Yeah. Are you going to end up with just CBC and CTV?
I mean, there's a start. Not going to partake of any of your U.S. entertainment. No entertainers, no television, no. I mean,
I see tons of people that work from Canada, and they couldn't give two flaming shites about this. They do not care because they just want to come to their place in Florida and get the hell away from Toronto in the middle of the winter. It's not going to change. It's not going to change. It's like, it's so silly. And I will, in a second, tell you how I think Canada should respond. Because, look, all of their defense is based on the United States.
Oh, yeah.
They have they should be the richest country in the world because they have nothing but unbelievable resources that they can exploit
Just don't have enough people.
And they have a tiny population. So it's a problem. Like, I get it. I love Canada. I love my Canadian family and friends. I'm not anti-Canada, but I am pro-reality. And in reality, there are trade issues, even though Trump renegotiated the greatest trade deal in the world back in 2018. There's massive tariffs on dairy. There's no American banks in Canada, but every single Canadian bank is in the United States doing business. Our home loan is through a Canadian bank.
No, it's not.
Well, it was originally. And TD, Toronto Dominion, BMO, that's the Bank of Montreal. That's a Canadian
true.
bank.
Yeah.
RBC, that's the Royal Bank of Canada. You see all of these ads for financial services from Canadian banks. American banks are blocked from Canada. And Canada has, I think, fantastic banking laws. Their banking system is incredibly stable because they have some really rational banking laws. But that said, this trade is not equal and it's not fair. And the United States does get ripped off in certain respects. And the only reason, because they'll subsidize certain industries to undercut prices so that Americans can't compete, so that there's, Canadian softwood and all this kind of stuff ends up exporting to the United States, and we'll keep importing it, even though the United States can produce all of its own wood and all of its own oil. We'll keep importing it. And so this idea that Trump is just a bully, is he a bully? Absolutely, he's a bully. There's not even a question of that. But there's way more to it. This isn't fairsy-waresy to the United States from Canada. And Canada exists and is financially prosperous because of the United States.
I don't think people understand
Period.
that.
End of story. You have no means of survival. And so this trade war to Canada is an existential threat. It is absolutely an existential threat. And you know who knows that more than anybody in the entire world? Trump.
Mhm.
That's why he's doing it. And that's why he's throwing around all this trolling about Canada becoming the 51st state. And so if Canada doesn't want to become the 51st state and be put out of business by American tariffs, they should approach it this way. They should speak the truth. They should go, you know what? We're sitting at a poker table and I got a pair of 2s and a 3 and a 7, and the guy across the table from me has 4 of a kind. I'm screwed. I have no hope. And say, look,
Oh, they're going to keep playing.
You don't fight a fight you can't win. That's the dumbest argument ever. What you say is you go, look, we get it. We get it. We get that this is an existential threat to us because the United States has been such an unbelievably generous and gregarious trading partner. And we want to keep that. And so if there are things that we can do as a nation, as individuals, as corporations, as crown corporations, or in other words, socialized companies that Canada owns, if there's anything that we can do to make this more harmonious with regards to border security, with regards to fentanyl, with regards to maybe some renegotiated trade deals, let's do that. But you know what? Please, President Trump, we get it. You hold all the cards. We understand that. But please just shut up when it comes to this 51st state shit. Because that doesn't fly. That just pisses us off. And there's really no reason for a negotiation with a pissed off person. Like, do you really want to negotiate a divorce with an insanely pissed off woman? I sure don't. So we got to get along. We share the longest undefended border in the world. We've done that for way over 100 years. So let's figure this out. Our only request is that you shut up about this 51st state thing, because it really does piss people off that don't need to be pissed off.
It's true.
And we'll come to the table in negotiating good faith and understand that there's 250% on some goods like dairy and whatnot. We'll figure all that out. We'll stop subsidizing softwood so that your loggers can still make a living. Let's start there. But no. We're gonna boo your national anthem.
Yeah.
A world leader said, we're going to continue to boo your national anthem. Like that. We go to a NASCAR race with our son who's in the military, and he hears that anthem and he immediately knows exactly where to look because he knows where the flag is, because that's what he has sworn to defend unto death. And that limp dick piece of shit up north says, we're going to continue to boo your national anthem.
Yeah, though they want us
Bite me, dickhead.
They want us to continue to defend them, though.
Yeah, but we're going to continue. No, we're not.
Yeah. Well,
no, we're not. No, like that's like that to me, that angers me so great.
He shouldn't be in there much longer.
He's gone. No, he's gone. Now they have a guy. Now they have a guy. Now they have a guy that has never won any elected office. He's the Gerald Ford of Canada.
The turtle.
He's the Gerald Ford of Canada.
Who picked him?
He went through the leadership process because.
Well, that's how it goes up there. That says it all. I don't know.
He got like I'm telling you that.
Anyway,
we might still boo your national anthem, but we're not booing you. Well, you're going to piss off a lot of people with a lot of guns, because that's how the guys with guns are the ones you're pissing off.
People without guns.
I'm not saying they're going to do anything violent. I'm just saying that to me is that's just. I mean, I think I hate it when it goes the other way. I could care less if it's Sweden. I don't care if it's the Soviet frickin' Union, and those guys are standing there. In 1972, you don't boo their frickin' national anthem.
No.
Okay. You might have political disagreements with that country, but those guys on that Red Army team from the Soviet Union are playing for their country. And you're going to boo it. Like, that's the lowest scum crap. No wonder that guy's out. I mean, that just angers me that's beyond the pale. You can say Trump's a bully. You can call him an a-hole. You can do all those things may be true. That's all perfectly. I think that's all fair game. But that national anthem means a hell of a lot more than just Trump's policies.
Yeah,
that's 250 years of foreign wars, of a civil war, of women getting the right to vote, of like go through the entire history of the United States. That's what that anthem and that flag represents. It's not just one guy's policies that you hate.
Yeah, clearly he doesn't get it.
Well, he doesn't get it
Indulged.
because his dad's Fidel Castro, obviously.
Oh, wow.
That one
I'm
just,
going to need to, where's the blood pressure cuff?
yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to,
We should probably,
I think you
we
need to pick
should
other
do-
subjects that are a little bit more fun and happy.
yeah, I don't know. I just
I mean,
didn't
I
pick
shouldn't, I
fun
should,
and happy.
okay. From
We-
now on, I am pre-screening these.
We should, what we
And
should do is you should put
Boycotting.
you should put an arterial line in me, and we can have continuous blood pressure monitoring going 100% of the time through one of these shows. That would be really interesting.
Mhm.
We'd be like, okay, we're done. We're
How
never
would I
doing
just
this
put
again.
my hands around your arm and feel the blood pumping through your brachial plexus up to your carotid. Well, that's the wrong direction, from your carotid to into your head. Anyway,
Man, I try to restrain myself, but when I start talking about Trudeau, I just lose it. Like I can't. It's just he's everything that drives me crazy. He's pretentious. He's fake. He's weak. He's unbelievably weak, and he's like got that snotty rich kid,
Mhm.
arrogant
that he
thing.
does.
That just
he
makes
does.
me want to throw up in my mouth.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what that speech was. Snotty rich kid thing.
We're going to win
We're not going to take
because
it.
we have nothing to win with, but we're going to win because I was told to say these things.
Anyway.
And
Okay. What else you got? Anything fun and light?
an aneurysm. I have. What else do I have? I have one more from the geniuses on the left, right here. Again from the Instagrams. This guy,
Oh, yes.
he bought a Tesla. Okay, this guy is literally why the word libtard exists. I bought it just to destroy it. Tesla supports fascists. He doesn't even know what a fascist is if he thinks that. Boycott Tesla, Starlink, SpaceX, blah, 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 with a big FUK Elon, and then he demolished his car. Of course, he lives in Seattle. I think the lack of sunshine does something and makes you insane.
Yeah, that really affected Elon too. That
Well, it did affect Elon because somebody bought one of his cars. It's like he's like Elon is going to go, they're upset. I'll stop making them now. I'll leave the Trump. I'll become like
he went poo poo in his pants, and I must clean it up.
yeah. I
I
don't
Maybe
get-
the theme is look at the area of the country you're looking at. Pick another area of the country to talk
Well,
about.
interestingly, there's lots of liberal areas of the country, but that didn't happen in New York City.
Yeah.
It didn't happen in Connecticut.
No.
It happened in Seattle.
Yeah.
The West Coast is insane.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, leave while you still have a chance. Leave before the Cascadia subduction plane swallows you like the disobedient children of Israel bowing down to the golden calf, and then the earth yawns open and swallows 24,000 of them.
Yeah, that might happen.
That's why I'm not a pastor, but that is my advice. Because pretty soon Idaho is going to be beachfront property.
Maybe God will want you to go back and live there again and preach to those people.
Like Jonah.
And get spit you out. Like,
It's like-
yes, that's what I'm
it's like
talking
Jonah.
about.
Like that is such a great
That's what I
great
just have been reading, and I'm thinking you're going to be swallowed up by a great white shark, and he's going to travel around the Atlantic and the Gulf of America all the way back.
Yeah.
Up through the
Puke
Panama
me-
Canal and puke you back
puke
up
you
on the
back
shores.
out onto Siesta Key.
No, not Siesta Key.
Puke me out onto Seattle.
Puget Sound.
Oh yeah, that would be great. No, but it is interesting. Like as I get angry, which I shouldn't because I'm unoffendable now, right?
Mm-hmm. You
Is-
need to read that again.
I need to read that I probably need to read that every 2 months.
Oh,
But it's fascinating because when you're talking about the book of Jonah that you've been reading. So Jonah was sent to go to Nineveh to preach to the Ninevites because God wanted to save the Ninevites. He wanted them to repent, so he needed a mouthpiece, which was Jonah. Jonah thought they were so evil and hated them so much.
wanted them to fall into the
the pit.
Cascadian subduction zone.
He wanted them to be swallowed by the Cascadian subduction zone so much that when he got on a ship and the ship had a storm and they were all going to die, he's like, throw me overboard. I'm being disobedient to God. That's why there's this storm. He would rather kill himself
Oh, he would want it.
than
Yes.
preach to these people because he hated them so much because they were so evil. People look at the Old Testament and they go, God's mean in the Old Testament. No, God was unbelievably merciful because he wanted Nineveh saved because they were so evil. And the prophet Jonah's like, kill me before I go talk to those assholes because they need to burn in hell. So what happens? God is so merciful to Jonah that he gets swallowed up for 3 days by a giant fish so he can sit there as human sushi figuring out his life. And then he gets spit out. He goes to Nineveh. And he still doesn't want to go talk to them when he goes there. So he sits there. So he gets scorched by the sun. Like it's like, if you want to talk about second and third chances, that's that entire book.
Exactly.
And it's so fascinating because this is how we'll bring this back and make it happy is I sit here, I statements, right? I sit here judging what I think are insanely evil political and literally crazy policies. But you're right. Maybe my next calling will be to go to preach to the people of Salem, Oregon. Please do not take dumps on the stairs of the legislature anymore. I would appreciate that.
Correct.
No, I mean, it is. Like, it's so easy. And I guess this is kind of where we'll tie this together because we all have a part of us that really just wants to be God. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I can point fingers at Tuna Kotex and Justin Castro. I mean, Justin Trudeau, and on and on and on. When really, the finger I'm pointing, there's three pointing right back at me, right, May?
Oh, when you do that, it does point right back at you.
So that's a happy note. I think that's a positive, is that even though there's stuff in the world that's so crazy, that's so insane, that we disagree with, and we'll call it out as evil, which I think we are obliged to do. That being said, we're still not God. And he may have a plan in this that we will never know about, because this might be a 250-year plan.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
So on that note,
I love it. Way to tie that up. I'm still waiting on his plan for my life here in another side note of things. But as far as it's good to be frustrated with all that stuff because you need to have some fire under your belly to impact some change. But grace goes a long way. And like I said before, meeting people where they're at one-on-one does a whole lot more than all the lambasting in general in a public forum.
Well, I loved what Naomi Wolf said. Like, what's the average person to do that doesn't have a platform or a microphone or isn't a writer? It's like, have a potluck and just discuss stuff with your neighbors and say, hey, you don't even have to set them up. You just have like good discussions. It's like, and just build communities. Because if you don't want to be controlled by people like this, you have to take control of your own life. And the best way to do that is to have strong local communities, local. Be kind to your neighbors. Invite them over for dinner. When a new person, like when we moved here, it was honestly, I don't even know if it was 10 minutes before people came over and introduced themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you solve this.
Exactly.
Because if you have strong local communities of people caring for each other, then when you need to mobilize politically, you can. Then when you need to elect somebody different to the school board or town council or whatever, you can, because you're all connected and you know who shares what values with you. And that's probably one of the biggest tragedies of COVID, was isolating people.
Yeah.
That was really,
Agreed.
really sinister and
Agreed.
really evil. So unisolate, have potlucks, be kind to your neighbors, take over the martini shaker once in a while. Or, well, I am drinking red rose tea, which is
Or-
only available
Or
in
the
Canada.
teapot. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. With that, we will see you next week.
Stay BS free.
Stay BS free.